Welcome to another episode of What's the Deal with Sports. Today we are going to be talking about the fastest selling soft drink of all time, Prime Hydration. We're going to talk about how the brand has gone from parents and kids scrapping in the supermarket aisles of Asda to sponsoring some of the world's biggest sporting teams and athletes. We're going to look at the business behind it and how they've infiltrated elite level sport. Dave, what's the deal with Prime?
Okay, so Prime. This is going to be an interesting one, this. So, Prime Hydration was a brand that was actually launched in January 2022. And we've done a few podcasts now where we're looking at deals in sports, you know, the likes of Nike, and we did one on Tiger Woods, you know, brands that have been around for a long time. 2 years. They've been around for 2 years, and they're the fastest growing soft drink. I mean, it's unbelievable. So what is it? So it's a range of hydration drinks. They've got hydration mixers, they've got energy drinks, and flavors include, and there's some weird and wonderful flavors in here. So you've got orange, lemon and lime, lemonade, tropical, ice pop, meta moon, blue raspberry, cherry freeze, glowberry, strawberry, watermelon. So as I said, it's a sports hydration drink. Think Gatorade, think Lucozade, which again, when we talk about fastest growing, think about Gatorade. They infiltrated the States a long time ago, elite level sports. So again, thinking about that. So, you know, there's an energy drink. So again, think Red Bull, Monster, etc. So Prime Hydration, which was initially sold exclusively in Asda stores in the UK, is made up of 10% coconut water, BCAAs for muscle recovery, B vitamins, electrolytes, and antioxidants. So it has no added sugar or caffeine and is essentially an expensive, watery coconut drink.
Yeah, it is. And actually, it's probably one for another day. We will look into the composition of this hydration drink. There's a couple of pretty big influencers online that have done videos on it saying, as a hydration drink, it doesn't stack up too favourably versus the Gatorades of the world. So that's one for another day.
But that then begs the question of how have they got to where they have got to so quickly? And it comes down to influencers?
Yeah, well, look at the two guys behind it. Well, the guys we think are behind it. So everybody knows that this is mass marketed by Logan Paul and KSI. So in case you've been living under a rock for the last 5 years, Logan Paul and KSI started off, both of them, in YouTube. They were foes. They didn't start influencer boxing, but they were very, very close to starting it behind. Would have been Joe Weller, a UK YouTuber. But those two fought each other twice, and then the influencer boxing scene just blew up massively. So they were foes, had the fights, they became friends, and they launched this product, Prime, together. Now, they don't own the product. So the ownership behind it is Congo Brands, Dave. So it's owned by a couple of guys, Max Clemens and Troy Steger. So Congo Brands are a US-based company in Louisville, Kentucky, and they invest in other brands as well. They've obviously approached the boys, KSI and Logan Paul, go, listen, this is the concept, this is what we want to do, and we want to use your expertise in the influencer space to market the product.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense, right? Because you go back to, you know, JJ and you look at Logan Paul. I mean, JJ's got 16.3 million subscribers on his YouTube channel alone, you know, not taking into consideration, you know, other forms of social media. You know, Logan's got 23.5 million.
It's silly numbers.
And again, you go from that kind of, we were battling each other to now we're together. I mean, that's a marketing powerhouse right there.
Massively. And it's really smart. So they've got both sides of the Atlantic. Obviously, JJ is huge in the UK scene. He's part of the Sidemen, and their wider network is just massive. Same with Logan Paul in the States. So you can see why Congo Brands have kind of pinpointed these two guys to figurehead and spearhead what they're trying to do here. The ownership we've just mentioned, but these guys aren't on payroll, so to speak. They have skin in the game. They have equity in the company. They're not listed as directors in the company, but they are on world tours promoting this product. The numbers that we see online are in the region of 20% equity each.
Yes, absolutely. And if you think about Congo Brands, you know, you're saying they actually invested in another sort of social media-led energy drink, which is Lani Nu, which has, you know, according to sort of 2022 sales, $500 million. So, you know, if these guys start thinking 20% each with their reach that they've got as well, I mean, they've done the maths and gone, we could give this a good punt.
From day one, with this influencer marketing, the product just exploded. And I think it's probably widely known that they restricted the supply of it to create the demand. So in the UK, obviously, it's listed in American stores, Walmart, etc. In the UK, it just started with Asda, and it was £2 a bottle. And you've seen the videos online, Dave, where people are fighting to get their hands on this Prime.
It's unbelievable.
They were limited to X amount of bottles each, and it's just ridiculous. So from day one, by kind of choking the supply chain almost, they've created that demand. And being the influencers that they are, it just grew and grew and grew. And I can't lie, my kids were of an age then where they wanted to get their hands on it. And it was the Christmas time, where I went out, saw it, a couple of bottles, and it was £15 a bottle. And I bought 2 bottles.
It's unbelievable.
For the boys, 30 quid on 2 bottles of what is in effect a hydration drink.
It was Christmas, okay? It's the only excuse for that. £15 a bottle.
But they loved it. Like, it was their best Christmas present, for God's sake.
Yeah.
This is the impact they're having on the youngsters. So it was completely nuts. But there you go. That's where we're at with it.
Yeah. So, I mean, you mentioned around where they're selling in the States. So, they're currently, Walmart is their staple, supermarket chain out there where everyone goes. And they're outselling Powerade. Again, so a brand that's been around for a long, long time. And already in Walmart, they're outselling Powerade. So, absolutely phenomenal effort.
So, Dave, big question. Are they making money?
So I think, firstly, the important thing is to say yes, and Logan Paul's been pretty vocal in terms of on his own podcast saying that in 2022, their first year, they did $250 million worth of sales, so approximately 195 million pounds sterling. And 2023, they're looking likely to hit $1.2 billion in sales, 937 million pounds sterling. So yes, I guess, on the surface of it, but there's not a huge amount of information out there. They started in 22. There's no actual financial accounts out there that you can see it. So these numbers are kind of, what they're telling us. But if you look at some of the sponsorship deals they've done, they've sold over 1 billion bottles of Prime since launching. And you think these are £2 to £3. So, I mean, you used to work in the industry, so I mean, you do the maths on that.
Yeah, if they're selling 1 billion bottles, and that is difficult to quantify because what's UK split?
Yeah.
What's US split? But if they're selling 1 billion bottles at between £2 and £3, $2 and $4 per bottle, you're talking net profit of something around 25 to 30% is what they're pocketing from this. Now, there's the supply chain, are they selling direct to the consumer? Are they going through the supermarkets, wholesalers? So we take this with a pinch of salt. But if we take it based on around 30%, we're talking between 600 and 900 million dollars. Somewhere in that ballpark, and that's in lifetime, which is a lot of money. But in 2.5 years, it's really, really impressive. So we've kind of tried to explain the commercials here, but it's really, really difficult. I thought when we decided we were going to do this episode, I'd go online, I'd find out all this information, and we'd succinctly put it together. But even in the UK alone, the fact that they were set up in January 22, they've got to file their accounts 9 months after their full first financial year. So their actually P&L account and other documents won't be available until September 2024. So we can only kind of do a bit of crude math and try and cobble it together, so to speak.
And also what they put out online. So, you've got to kind of take that with a pinch of salt. But it does kind of lead into when you're saying about, are they making money? All you've then got to do is look at their sponsorship deals and go, yes.
Talk us through some of the ambassadors and sporting teams that they sponsor, because they've ramped this up recently and it is out of control now.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got Arsenal, you've got Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Dortmund, you've got the Major League Baseball team, the LA Dodgers. You've then got NHL's Toronto Maple Leafs and Austin Matthews. Now, I just came back from the All-Star game, the NHL All-Star game, and Austin Matthews, I don't think I saw him without a bottle in his hand.
Skating across the ice with a bit of...
one stick, one bottle. Yeah, but no, anytime he was on camera and they were interviewing him in and around that weekend, he had a bottle on him, which is very clever marketing. So you've then got the UFC, so both companies, so TKO, UFC, and WWE. And then they are actually the first WWE sponsor to have that actual centre ring, that canvas. Now, that's not cheap.
No, it's not. And some of the teams you've just mentioned and the franchises there, LA Dodgers, that is seriously expensive to get in there. Is the kind of exclusive hydration drink. Look at like the football teams, right? Arsenal, they're an English Premier League team. They're right at the top of the Premier League.
Yeah.
Okay, this is really, really expensive kind of partnership stuff. Barcelona are pretty much one of the brokest football teams in the world. They're selling off kind of future TV rights and all sorts. So you asked me off camera, is there some kind of trade-off deal here? And no, it's cold hard cash. It's going to have to be cold hard cash. And I wouldn't even like to speculate how much this would be. I wouldn't even, all I know is it's bloody expensive. And then we look at the ambassadors. And this is where they've been really cute, in my opinion. This is where they've been really cute. And Logan and KSI's input on this, because these guys are absolute geniuses at what they do. People can overlook them because they're YouTubers and they play a certain character. Don't underestimate these guys. They are seriously smart operators.
Yes.
And what they've done is, between them, and yes, they'll have advice, but they've gone English Premier League, the German League, the Spanish League, baseball in the States, NHL in the States, UFC. These are big emerging sports. And then entertainment. Logan Paul wrestles in WWE. So think about the amount of impressions they've got there across social media and digital marketing across those sports in those regions. It's absolutely frightening. And then we talk about the ambassadors. I mean, look at the first one here, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't have picked him. I mean, it was pretty obvious. I think he was going to go to the Super Bowl again. But yeah, I mean, that is not a cheap endorsement deal right there. I mean, he is the creme de la creme, top of the top, right?
So exactly that. And then you look at who's the creme de la creme in football. It's Mbappe and Erling Haaland. So they've snaffled up Erling Haaland. This guy's got 38.5 million Instagram followers. He's a massive star, and he's like 22, 23 years old. So then that's not enough for them. They go, let's look at the women's game. And although Alicia Lehmann for Aston Villa also plays for the Swiss national team, she's not probably the best football player on the planet in terms of women.
Reach.
But the reach, 17 million Instagram followers. So they're looking at this and going, let's look at the kind of the women's sports as well, and what influence they have. And then they've just signed Rafa Leao, Portuguese soccer superstar, Central C, British rapper. Yeah. So again, just looking at the different cultures, looking at rap culture now as well. And then they've signed Israel Adesanya, UFC fighter. So they're moving into these key markets, wide range of sports, wide range of cultures. And most of these influencers have got astronomical following.
Yeah, and I think you're right, and this is where it plays in that, they may not have invested and put their own money into this and they've got equity in it, but it's because, take Congo as an example, they've seen the opportunity with these guys and gone, that's how they're connected. And these athletes, as much as they are top of their game, they will want to work with Logan Paul. They'll want to work with KSI because of their reach and because of the reach that they're going to get. And it's cool, absolutely. And they create cool content. And I asked you off camera, will they do sort of contra deals by saying, hey, come and, Arsenal saying, come and do a training session, let's YouTube it. And you're like, no, it'll be cold, hard cash. But it wouldn't surprise me if they threw that in there anyway and came and do it because it's cool. It creates good content. Absolutely. So, absolutely phenomenal. I mean...
Dave, look at one thing when you're saying about the kind of contra deals almost, that's kind of like our world. That's our jargon, isn't it, that we're talking?
Yep.
Look at the YouTube space, right?
Yeah.
And this is exactly what happens. So our world of contra deals is their collabs.
Yeah.
Right? So Logan Paul has had Mr. Beast, 244 million subscribers.
I mean, that's uncomprehendable.
Yeah, 244 million. That's what, like 4 times the size of the UK population, something along those lines. And he's got Mr. Beast tasting Prime.
Yeah.
Okay, so algorithmically, what that does, you go, Mr. Beast, people are used to seeing 100 million views on a video and north of that. And then the second you start putting Mr. Beast on Logan Paul's platform, he will get served more. It will bump up that rankings list.
Because you swapped both, didn't they? He tried his chocolate. Mr. Beast has come out with a new chocolate bar. So he, Logan Paul tried his chocolate and he tried Prime, which again, as you say, crossing over those algorithms on both channels is just going to give it even further reach.
He's a PewDiePie, but when they're getting people tasting it, it's not even just about the fact that they're tasting it. In YouTube, it's such big business in YouTube is like reactions. So like mukbangs, when you just see people eating food. Right? Well, sitting down, it could be KSI and his mate sitting down eating a Chinese takeaway. It could be a KFC. It could be whatever it might be, and it's just big business. So when you then start doing reactions to Mr. Beast tasting Prime, it just booms. It just absolutely booms. So what they've done is started it in the kind of more traditional influencer model of getting their pals and their network. How they've then kicked it on a level is by going into these endorsement deals with some of the best athletes in the world, some of the best sporting franchises in the world. And then they've kicked it on another level with the Super Bowl, haven't they, Dave?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you think about Super Bowl this year was the most watched Super Bowl in history, and they paid $6.5 million to have a 30-second Super Bowl advert. And it's a cool advert, don't get me wrong. But I mean, again, goes back to that question, are they making money? Yes. I mean, to go straight in, year 2, Super Bowl advert, I mean, you don't normally see brands like Coca-Cola coming until 10, 20 years of being established before they go for the Super Bowl. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I think what does the future hold? Because what they're doing is they're launching a lot of new flavours, and the hype around it has died off. So you can walk into a Sainsbury's now, for example. They've listed in Sainsbury's at Aldi. You can walk into one in the UK and pick it up off the shelf.
So there's no one fighting anymore.
No one's fighting anymore. Only when you get home and it's over what flavour. So I do wonder if they will sustain this rate of sale. That's my key one, because obviously the end game for them here is to sell.
Yeah, so if you think that they, 2022 first year did $250 million, 2023 they're projecting $1.2 billion, and now for 24 with, the likes of Major League Baseball, NHL, UFC, soccer teams, WWE, and the influencers they've got, I mean, they've got to be gearing up for a big push and then a sale, surely.
I think so. So they're kind of on the third year now, and if they show that trajectory, as you say, then you would think that within the next 18 months to 2 years, they'll be gearing up to sell. Realistically, it's going to be Coca-Cola, it's going to be Pepsi. I was reading online, there was already rumours of Coca-Cola, and we were talking like 8, 9, 10 billion. So, let's look at it in 2 years. If it continues on the growth that it is, 10 billion is not out of the question. And if Logan and JJ have got 20% each there, it doesn't take a mathematician to work out it's going to be a couple of bill in their back pockets.
Absolutely.
Which is not bad for a couple of influencers, is it?
No, absolutely not. So I mean, KSI and Logan Paul are masters at this kind of digital influencer marketing. So I mean, I don't really think we need to say much more, but what I'll do is I'll leave you with a quote from Logan Paul, which pretty much sums up the genius behind these two. We have this thing called the cell phone that lets us reach every corner of the globe. See you on the flip side.